In the marriage process, giving property to two spouses is a common issue. Property given during the marriage period can be a common property or a private property of one of the two spouses. To understand more about how to handle property given when divorced, first we need to analyze the current law. According to the Vietnamese civil law, property given during the marriage period will be considered based on the origin and purpose of giving. If the property is given as the common property of the two husbands, which means that both have the right to own and use, then when divorced, the husband will have the right to use it. This property will be split in half. However, if the property is given as a property owned by a party, that property will not be divided when divorced. Proving the property is given as a shared or separate will depend on the evidence, the contract given, or other evidence documents. In the case of a dispute over the property given, the court will base on the evidence and the legal provisions to make a decision. In addition, if one of the two spouses has a misconduct in the disclosure of the property given, this can affect the court's decision of the court. Another important factor is the will of the donor. Does the donor want that property to become a common property? When divorcing, if one side wants to keep the property for them, they need to prove that the property is theirs according to the law. It should also be noted that if the property is created from the common income during marriage, it can be considered a common property. Therefore, the division of the property for divorce is not only based on the status of ownership, but also related to the origin of the property. To avoid unnecessary disputes, the couple should have a clear agreement on the property from the beginning. The creation of a grant can help protect the interests of both parties and reduce the risk of divorce. Besides, seeking advice from lawyers is also a good choice to ensure legal rights. If one party disagrees with the way to divide the assets for them, they have the right to file and request the court to resolve. The court will review the details, review the grant, and the relevant evidence before making a decision. When making a decision, the court will also review factors such as marriage, the contribution of each party to creating assets. Therefore, it is very important to understand the rules of law related to the property given during the marriage period. Finally, the understanding and cooperation between the two parties in the division of property will help the divorce process take place in a more beautiful way.